Hello, my name is Roger Tilling. I graduated in aeronautical engineering from Queen Mary College, University of London back in 1994. And I'm now a television voiceover and broadcaster. And I'm probably best known for being the voice of a certain quiz show called University Challenge.
Thank you, Roger, so much for joining Quiz for NHS. And when your voice comes over through the airwaves, I almost get that tingling like, oh God, it's Roger, I need to get ready for some questions. So your voice inspires and terrifies me at the same time. When do you realize
I'm flattered.
When do you realize that your voice was special and distinctive?
Special? My goodness, the check's in the post, Bobby. Thank you. Well, actually, I was always interested in two things from an early age, and that was aviation and broadcasting. And I thought I would have a better chance, actually, of being a pilot than anything else. So that's what I always wanted to be. So after my A-levels, I took a gap year, and I did all those kind of little student jobs that you do to get the money together. And I got enough money to go to America and get my private pilot's license. And I thought, yes, you know, kind of step one towards being an airline pilot. Then I did my degree in aeronautical engineering for 3 years. And I graduated in 1994, and that was a bad time because it was the middle of a recession. And so airlines were getting rid of pilots rather than employing them, new ones, and training them. So I thought, right, how about the RAF? And I was an inch too tall buttock to knee length for the RAF. So I was never going to be a pilot. Everything was against me. And I always had this kind of inkling to try radio. So I thought, I've got nothing to lose. So I started off working in my local radio station, and I did all kinds of shifts around the clock, thoroughly enjoyed it. And then I started doing those kind of rather nauseating radio commercials, you know, opposite the gas station, open 7 days. And that kind of led me into TV continuity. And my first job in television was at Granada, first full-time job. It was a continuity announcer, you know, kind of introducing Coronation Street and things like that. And by that time I thought, yeah, this is for me. This is good fun. It's all live, which is great because you get that kind of adrenaline from live voiceovers, and that was great. And that's how I got University Challenge. They needed a voice to cover a series in 1997.
Was there an audition process for that?
No, actually, they just heard me on air.
Okay.
And
so it was like X Factor for University Challenge voice.
No, actually, thank goodness for that. I think they heard me anyway. And they needed a voice pretty quickly to cover that series. So I kind of got the University Challenge like that. So the more kind of voiceover work I've done, I suppose, hopefully, the better I've become. And they asked me back after a couple of years. So I covered that series in 1997. I'd come back to London by then. I was working for companies like LWT and channels like that. And they tracked me down. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So I thought, you know, I obviously didn't do a bad job on that series, thank heavens. And from 2001, I've been the voice of it ever since. So
when you go out to restaurants, do people, when you're ordering or paying the bill, do people go, are you that?
Are you
the voice? You get that at all?
Never.
Really? How?
Never. No, actually, nobody's ever recognised me. I remember going for a name drop. I remember going for a meal once when we were filming with Jeremy Paxman. I remember the restaurant manager thinking I was his son. That was close, but nobody. No, I don't get recognised at all, which is actually quite nice. You know, I can do all these kind of TV things, and nobody knows who I am. Well, they do now.
They do now.
Yes.
What are some of the most difficult names that you've read out on University Challenge?
Oh, we've had some great ones over the years. Just in case people don't realise, I actually do it live because I've got to kind of speed up as the show speeds up, and Jeremy gets faster, the contestants get faster, so I have to kind of speed up as well. We've had some great ones. Papa Philippopoulos.
Papa Philippopoulos.
That was a great one. Dornojek Zorko.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And I remember saying, is it Dornojek Zorko? He goes, no, Dornojek. I've got to roll the R's with this as well. Wanakula Surya, beautiful Sri Lankan surname. Really, really good. Tushchuk Smith, Bhattacharya, but the best one of all is the 8-syllable Rubio Garachetegi,
Wow.
which is, I think, back from the Basque region of Spain. And I'm kind of, in a way, when I'm up there, I'm kind of thinking, please don't answer any starter questions. But it's usually the person with the most complicated surname that gets the the starter questions right every time. So I'm always
they get additional thinking time, don't they? They get like a fraction of.
I think they do. You're right. I think they probably get at least half a second of extra things, which because cerebrally it really helps.
Yeah, it can make a difference.
The first question I ask whenever I go up there to the production office is, have we got any complicated surnames this series? And they go, nah, you'll be fine. They'll snigger into their computers. And it's only when I go down to the studio floor and I see they've had to kind of half the font size to get the name on the set that I find out what the surnames are. But it's great fun. I always long for a long surname.
What did you think when you saw Seagull? You're like, this can't be a name.
Well, actually, nice and simple to pronounce. I thought it's a great surname. We're looking, we think, wow, we got Seagull. So yeah, it was great to meet you.
Thank you. So how has University Challenge changed during your time of being the voice?
Well, actually, the series, the format, I don't think it's changed much at all, which is definitely one of the strengths of the program, because people know what they're going to get. They're familiar with it, and they will just play along. It's great. Something it's just very homely. But I think one thing that has changed is the way that it's perceived by the audience and processed by the audience, because, social media goes mad on a Monday night, doesn't it? Twitter goes crazy. It trends on Twitter. Even I'm kind of hooked on tweeting and seeing what other people are saying about the program. Kind of naturally, you've got some negative people, but generally, I think social media has changed or increased the popularity of the program. Because I don't know about you, but I've always felt that people tend to be slightly scared of knowledge or intelligence. They kind of, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's, luckily, I think it's becoming a little bit cooler. So people are being drawn in, and there's a real feeling of community now, thanks to social media, in the way the program is watched and shared by viewers. And that's wonderful.
Absolutely. Knowledge is a great thing.
It
really is. And so as a school teacher, I'd love you to give a message to young people and adults during these times. What would you want to say to them?
I would say that we will get through this. And in fact, we are getting through this. I don't mean to sound like a politician when I say that, but we will. I think one of the worst things we can do, actually, is have a rolling news channel on in the background all day long, because that is not going to do us any good, kind of in terms of our positivity. So I would avoid that. Get your headlines in the morning, but try and focus on the good things we've still got. And we do have a lot of good things. We can still keep a routine. I know I've certainly become a better cook in the last 4 weeks or so. Yeah. But together we will. And fortunately, we've got technology like this where we can all get together and speak to each other. That's important. And that's something we didn't have 20 years ago. And finally, I really sympathize for all the students who are due to take their GCSEs and their A-levels, or do their finals for their degree, because you and I have been through it all. It was stressful enough without coronavirus, but I wish you the best, and we are going to get through this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Roger, for taking part today, and thank you for joining Quiz for NHS.
A pleasure. Thank you, and thank you, NHS.